I'm Elle Palmer. I'm a fantasy writer, and I'm here to tell you a story. So next week, I will be going to the Symposium, The Life, the Universe, and Everything, which is a symposium for creatives who love science fiction and fantasy. There is film and books and TV and video games and board games, and all of these creatives come together and have great conversations. There's panels on everything you can imagine. There's panels on craft, on business, on and then on any topic in the world, because when you are writing science fiction and fantasy, who knows what you need to know in order to make your world feel more authentic and more real, or what idea you will hear to be like, oh, let me bring that piece in, and then that will give the depth to my world to be able to build the story. So I've been going to this conference since 2016, which will make here in 2026 my 10th year being on panels, which is crazy to me. So how did I, who lives in South Texas, end up connected to a writing conference or a creative conference in Provo, Utah? Well, I went to grad school at BYU in Provo, Utah, getting my master's in public administration, which is government and nonprofit management, which is exactly related to fantasy writing. If you want to know how a government works, this is a great way to go. I can tell you a lot. So if you see me there, I can explain more than you would ever imagine. But so how did I get connected? I've always been a writer. I've always sought to be a writer. I was very fortunate and had a great roommate. Her name is Tara Newland. Her husband, Jim Newland, is working on a series called Bloodlines, which is a tabletop, not a tabletop, but an RPG series, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. You should definitely check it out. He's working on rolling that out. He will also be at LTUE. So Tara, before she was married to Jim, she was my roommate in college, and we got to know each other. She's into fantasy. I'm into fantasy. We became friends very quickly. And she said, there's this really great conference. You should check it out. There's so much great stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went and checked it out in 2015. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. In the summer of 2015, I published my first book, The True Bride and the Shoemaker. And I do not recommend publishing your first book during the middle of graduate school. It is a lot of work, both graduate school and publishing your first book. But I did it. I had a lot of great support from my cohort. It was fantastic. Got my book out, and I was like, let me just see if I can get on panels. Let me just apply. Now, my bachelor's degree is I have a double major in English and films, and I took way more medieval literature classes than most people should take, combined with the storytelling and the theory that you learn from film classes. And so I consider it a bachelor's degree in storytelling, and then my master's degree is in getting a career in a field that I enjoy, so I can pay to do the storytelling. Um, I do like my job, and I do like what I do for work and the good I'm supposed to do for that. So so back to this conference. I I was a self-published author with one book out, going to grad school in a completely different topic, and was like, let's see what happens. So I applied. I reached out and was told, well, this is the application period. It's coming up at this time. I applied. I ended up on several panels, had to balance jumping between going through going back to campus and going to my class and doing my homework, and then going and being on a panel on why films are the coolest, and then going over here and going to my class on how do you budget for municipal government, and then how do we fight dragons, and but love them all the same, because we all love dragons. And really, do we want to kill the dragons? Okay, I do have dragons that are bad guys and do die in some of my books coming out, so I do want to forewarn you with that. um so we're jumping from dragons to budgeting for dragons. How do they track all of their gold hoard? See how these are relevant topics? um and so I joined the conference, came back the next year when I was living in California, where my family's from, while I was applying to school. That's how, through the alumni program from my master's program and through the conference, is how I met one of my really good friends, Benjamin K. Hewitt. If you really love classic fantasy with a twist of Terry Pratchett's, like you just love Dungeons and Dragons and Dragonlance, you should check out his books. So he lives also in here in Texas, a couple hours from me, and so we've gotten to be friends because we got connected in Utah, and then we both are living out here. So we will go, and that's why we will go do things together. And we've gotten to be very good friends. So that's how I got one of my really good friendships. I think the following year is when, or was that year, the following year, that they needed someone who could talk about motion capture. I had, because of living in California near LA, I'd gone to some seminars on motion capture in the Hollywood industry just because it's cool. And so I was like, I can research what I don't know and use what I have seen in the last couple of years before I moved to learn this. Oh, in between this, I did get my job out here and moved out to South Texas because when you work in a municipal government, you should probably live close to where that government you work for is. And it's great. And there are tacos, so everything's wonderful. So so I did this panel. I did I did the presentation on motion capture because they just needed someone to do it. And I said, sure, I can do it. And that's how I got to be friends with some of the people on the committee. And then I ended up being like, sure, I can do it when they said, let's do an author rap battle. And then when Nick Mills runs the theater and media arts, if you don't know him, Nick is also very cool and a really great guy, very nice and very passionate about what he does and educating people. And so Nick reached out to me and said, hey, the person who moderated last year can't do it. Would you be willing to be the MC? Sure, I could be the MC. And so now I'm 3 years into emceeing an author rap battle at a or at a creative conference in Utah. This is all from taking the chance 10 years ago when I was in grad school to say, sure, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. And I love going back to this conference. I love getting on the plane, staying in a hotel, and then going and being around other writers and creatives and getting that good energy and getting excited. It's very invigorating. It's very, like, for me, it is just something where I just get excited for writing. I get excited for what I am going to do. I get excited for the people I get to see that I've gotten to be friends with. I get excited to meet newer writers, to meet people newer to the conference and expand my world. I also, every time I go, I learn about a new super fan that I didn't know about, and I meet super fans of my friends, and we get excited for each other. Like, you have a super fan, because so much of writing is sitting in front of a computer, just focusing on, okay, are the words good? Am I getting the emotion out? Am I getting the story out? Is this world building great? And it's so great to get that feedback from people. So I have a lot of great connections in Utah and other places because of this conference. And I'm very grateful that they took a chance on me and that they continue to take a chance on newer writers and trying to give them a chance to be a part of this panel and be included. It's run by volunteers who are just the nicest people and they work really hard. All of the panelists are really just very giving and have a great time together. And I love getting to know the people who've chosen to come because I just want to learn more about fantasy. I want to learn more about writing. I'm just curious about it. I want to become a writer. Whatever your goal is, it is just a great time. So here's your sales pitch. If you are in Provo area, Wasatch Front, Utah, go check out, and you love fantasy, go check out this conference. If you're working, Saturday is open. The most important time is noon on Friday because that is the high noon duel. That's my Texas finger guns. I have a license to carry those. Out here, out come to the rap battle. All of it's going to be a great time. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited I got a chance to share this rap battle. I'm also hoping to share more stories with you, and I hope you enjoy this. And have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the story.